love me and I love you.
Content warning. The stories and themes shared throughout this podcast may contain themes that can be distressing for you. If needed, please pause and do what you need to do to take care of yourself. If needed, please reach out to a mental health professional for support.
Welcome back to another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana, but you will see there's no Alana here today, but we do have Jeremy Roadruck. Listen, he's a men's mentor, relationship strategist. He helps high-performing men reclaim their power, protect their empire, prevent the $3 million divorce. He's a father, a husband, sixth degree kung fu master. Jeremy guides men through the boy, man, king evolution, which I'm curious about, but we don't have time to talk about that today. But from guilt to blame to grounded present to unstoppable leadership, his approach is raw, real, and results driven, helping men stop performing and start leading in places that matter most: their marriage, their family, and their legacy. I absolutely love that. And today, Jeremy is here to talk about his childhood. Hi,
Mhm.
Jeremy.
How you doing, Blair?
Good. How are you?
Amazing, same as always.
Are you always amazing?
Yeah, pretty much. It's all BS, belief system. So what you tell yourself starts to become a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So if you just
True.
tell yourself amazing, well, I guess, absent any other information, I should be amazing. Um, in the recent past-ish, I've collapsed a lung twice, and so I've been like in the hospital 11 days the first time, six the second. So last night when I went to bed, I wasn't on oxygen. Nobody was giving me morphine or Vicodin. Nobody was machines going ping, or they wake you up every couple of hours to check if you're alive when you've got vitals on machines everywhere. So every night that that's not happening, when I wake up in the morning in my own bed next to my wife, hell yeah, gonna be a good
Yeah.
day.
Amazing. And well, I mean, you are the epitome of resilience, like that alone. And I think that's such a beautiful perspective. And so today we're going to talk about how in your late 20s, the memories of child abuse came back into your awareness. And you started to put the pieces of the puzzle back together to help explain the survival mode and anger that you were living in since you were 5. And I can't even imagine what that's like. So maybe let's start with you telling us our story. I mean, not our story, it's your story. Why don't you start by telling us your story?
Yeah, like I was a high energy kid, like raised on a leash, ran into traffic when we lived overseas. My parents had me on a harness, and my mom literally pulled me out of the road twice because I would have been pizza. And so fell asleep standing up in the crib, like just high energy kid, massive, right? And I remember one time my mom said when I was like 14 and I was just jerky teenager and just angry about everything all the time. And she asked me like what happened to you because you used to be such a fun, positive 4 year old. And at the time, I did not receive that at all the way she offered it because she was coming from a place of curiosity. And you either get a loving response or a cry for help. And I gave her a cry for help because I said, I fucking killed him and took his place, deal with it, swore at her and stormed off. Because the way I received what she said to me was, we loved you more when you were 4 and more dependent on us and more capable than we love you now at 14.
Mm,
Right? Because I received that as an attack. And that's kind of how my life was for a lot of it at that age. And really for about 20 years, I was always on the defensive. I always had my back to the wall. Where's the entrances? Where's the exits? My head was always on swivel. And I couldn't ever explain why I felt such a high need for I have to be safe. And I
hmm.
can't trust anyone, and I have to survive. Every single moment was life and death. If you say hello to me, that's a life and death threat. But if you ignore me, that's a life and death threat. And it's like all I have is one color in my crayon kit, and it's all just survival. And so it made me very, very aware of everyone all the time, everywhere I went, which was exhausting. But at the same time, I had adrenaline in my system to like not be exhausted because I couldn't afford to be exhausted.
Right.
So, super scrawny, didn't matter how much I ate. And I realized at like 7, when you're playing tic-tac-toe and some part of you believes if you lose, you're going to die, your level of intensity, my level of intensity was really, really high. And so I had to back off because the other kids were getting scared. That's not safe. So I became a really good chameleon and a really good mimic, but I didn't understand people say one thing and they mean a second thing, but then they do a third thing. Why? And
Mm,
I was abused by an adult initially and some kids up the street, so I can't trust adults, I can't trust kids. So I'm stuck with I can only trust me, which is not a great place to be at 6, 7 years old. And I'm the only person that I believe I can rely on. So I
mhm,
became very manipulative. I didn't like myself. I was rejecting myself. So I would create ways to get the people around me to reject me on my terms because that was the safest place to be.
mhm.
Because if I'm in control of the dynamics, then I'm safe. Not something I would recommend.
No, and thank you for sharing that. And you know, that's really hard to have that belief system to be abused as a kid. What happened in your 20s that made you start to put the pieces together?
Well, basically two things. One is I had started Kung Fu and martial arts when I was 20. And so that really began to take the fractured pieces and put them back together because I could be as intellectually dominant as I wanted to. There's a room full of people that don't care and are going to just knock you on your butt and hand you your head and don't care. They're not going to stop. Right. So it's like, that's kind of cool because it let my mind sort of shut off and let my body and my emotions kind of come out and play. And so I
Hmm.
found a vehicle to kind of integrate the pieces. And the second thing was working with kids that were difficult or challenging or oppositional defiant, put all the labels and crap on it. And I didn't approach them that way. I approached them as equals to myself, even if they were 7 or 6 or whatever, but intelligent, capable people worthy of conversation. And so because I didn't come in as a judgmental adult, I got a different part of these kids to show up and they listened to what I had to share because it was something I shared with them versus I'm telling you how to do it right because I'm better or smarter or bigger or I'm whatever. And because that crap quit on me at 6 years old because I said so, you got nothing.
Yeah.
So it was the adults that had those different conversations. So it was those two pieces. And then I had a girlfriend, a woman I was dating at the time that called me to show up in different ways that
Mm,
made it safe for some of this unresolved stuff to start to come out. Because whenever you've got unresolved stuff in your past, as
yeah.
you gain more capacity or more capability, your unconscious will often give it to you and say, "Hey, are you ready to deal with this yet?" And then you freak out and it goes, "My bad," and it takes it away.
Yeah.
Or it serves it up and you go, "Actually," and you begin to dig in and you're ready to start integrating it and expanding and growing through it. So it just the memory started to come back. I'd always had like flashes and I always had like some holes in my memory of just giant pits of nothing. And I started to get these flashes and these glimmers. And rather than run away from them or suppress them or dominate them or dismiss, it was like, there's something there. I need to go deeper. And I had the mental emotional tools for martial arts, the confidence, the working with kids that were having challenges. So I had like these three different threads that came together that now's the time to start dealing with this.
Hmm. Wow. And so, like, when a memory would pop up, like, were you always doing something different or were you always doing something the same? Or was it like, what would happen? Like, could you give us an example of like filling in these holes, these black holes that like something you were doing and what you saw and like to take us through that?
Yeah, sometimes it was a mix of things because sometimes it was like a flash of an experience. It was like I remember being in some place, or I had a dream that I walked through something, or in the middle of an argument with my girlfriend, like something would start coming up that like I needed to defend myself from, but then like the backstory, like consciously it's like, oh, we can't go there because of blah blah blah. But then unconsciously I would be like given this memory or given this little movie scene in inside somewhere. And it was like witnessing that was like, hold on a second. There's something coming up for me. Can I have a second to process this? Like I would get permission to like disengage because if you just abruptly cut off with someone, where are you going? Fight with me. And so it's like, hold on, I gotta work this through. This is weird. I don't know what this is. And that's really what it became more and more of was
Mhm.
these chunks would come up and I would ask my unconscious, like, okay, give me more of this. Where is this coming from? Like I would ask for, even if it was uncomfortable or scary or whatever. And then my way of dealing with it often is I would go run because now my body's in motion and I'm going to be out for a mile or two. So I've got 14, 20 minutes. So I kind of know where I'm running. So I'm in a safe place, but
Mhm.
my body's in motion as I'm processing this stuff. because the memory can't hurt me.
Right.
It's all, neurological stuff that's stored, it's chemicals. That was a form of conscious disassociation to not lose myself in the memory,
Right.
right? And so that was like it's all just feedback.
Yeah.
After the moment, I obviously survived. I'm obviously here now. So that memory can't really hurt me, but it could help me understand. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, a lot of it is like it's like unraveling a knot and it's like threads of fabric. Like sometimes I can see it like part of my life, there's a little bit of synesthesia, which is like processing through different systems. So I can see something, but then I can feel something or I can hear something. And so like I had these like threads of thought or lines of emotion or lines of memory to kind of unravel or trace back. And the way you untie a knot is brute force. You just cut it then. But it's figuring out and tugging a little bit and adjusting and coming around and coming from angles and rotating. And that's kind of how I did that. But yeah, some of them were like I'd wake up from a dream and it would be like I fell out of something.
Whoa.
And then it was like this memory and just this whole big chunk of thing just filled back in. It was like, oh, that's kind of,
Yeah.
I still have some holes in my head, but I
Well, I
don't
was
have
just
any.
gonna say, like, is the knot fully undone?
Yeah, the knot's fully undone. Yeah, because the I went on a long journey of integration, and that's part of what I do now professionally. And kind of the how do you know you've healed? When you can talk about the past in the positive and about yourself and for the future, all three at once, you've got you've got a lot of it resolved. And if there's any other people stuff or negativity or in the past, any one of those three, then there's still some sort of attachment or there's still some sort of something tied into it because your power base is outside of yourself. When it's self-positive future, like it's inside you, it's my story to tell. Thank you very much. And I don't need your approval or permission because I'm the only person qualified to speak on my experience.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay, so you're now in your adult life and
Mhm.
in a place of healedness. If you think back to when you were a kid, what do you wish was said? I mean, besides the abuse, like, what do
Yeah,
you wish
yeah,
was
take that away.
said?
That would be
Yeah, I
good.
mean, like, besides like that, wishing that didn't happen, but what do you wish was said or not said or done in a certain way that would have alleviated this? Just, I'm saying this because there's parents who are listening. So this isn't the like share advice. I have that later, but this is like, what
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
wish you would have known as a kid or been told or not told? Obviously, but it's also like the abuse. Obviously, you wish that didn't happen. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
you start off by sharing about like what you were told when you were 4.
right. So think of it like a rock hitting the water, creating ripples,
Mm-hmm.
right? When we ask why questions,
Mm-hmm.
why this, why that, very often it will draw people into the amplitude of energy. It'll draw them into the story and it will keep them stuck spinning their wheels with no traction.
Mm-hmm.
Because why, on a certain level, and we can talk ontology and epistemology and metaphysics, but why is unknowable to some degree, and why keeps people in justification, rationalization. Instead, what and how? What's going on? How is that showing up for you? What is making, rather than why are you so angry, what is making you angry right this moment? Like the
Mm-hmm.
more we can get into the specifics, it's like we find gears and gears have teeth that enmesh and we can begin to like click pieces together because it's so easy when you're wounded. Someone says, well, why are you this? Because I'm not worth anything. Well, why do you feel that way? And the why is you'll continue and spin versus what is making you feel that way? What story, what experience, what thing, or how did you arrive at that understanding? So, like when I got mad at my mom and I said, I killed him and took his place. Well, hold on a second. You're obviously the same person. So, what specifically is making you feel like you killed the 4-year-old to be the 14-year-old? Help me
Mm-hmm.
understand,
Mm-hmm.
right? That could have become instead of two people hurting and both of us hitting each other with cries for help, just that change from why into what, well, what is leading you to feel that way? What is making you say that versus? But
Mm-hmm.
you to do that, you have to be with someone who is also healed and can withstand the emotional storms without taking it personally.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
why
that's
it's
The
Well, say it's hard for couples and parents to do the healing because there's expectations on that. Like my parents couldn't have done certain things because you're my parents. You're supposed to know this stuff. Why don't you? It's
right.
like, why don't you know this stuff? Well, because they never had to deal with abuse or recover from it,
Hmm.
right?
So, I mean, so you're in the parent role now.
Hmm.
How has this healing influenced the way you parent?
Oh, I love it. It's actually, I wrote a whole book on games. My dad read a book called Games People Play, which was about like dysfunctional games and power and control. It came out of transactional analysis. And I read it later. The problem with it is it shows you how to break the games, not how to replace the game.
Mm,
So it's not about, don't play games because as human beings, we play games, we tell stories. It's like what we do as primates. But it's is the game you're playing worth winning?
mm,
How can we create a better game? And so with my daughter, like we're always playing with, being in a positive, resourceful place, and it's okay to feel bad too. Like that's a positive thing because we have cloudy days. You can have
yep.
cloudy days inside your heart too, or inside your mind. It's okay. And what do you want to do about it? Where do you want to go with it? How would you like to feel?
Hmm.
Right. So there's a lot of like consent, a lot of like defining the experience without being overly attached or enmeshed into it.
Hmm.
Like I don't need my daughter to be happy, but I want her to be happy. Those
Yeah.
are two different places to live in,
Yeah.
right?
Need versus a want, right?
Yeah. And so like she messed up. Okay, she's gonna go to timeout. She's 3 years old. All right. Hey, kid, stop. That's not okay. Go sit down. You have 3 minutes. Take a deep breath, get back self-control, please. And self-control, my mind controls my body and my emotions. So
Hmm.
was that self-control or was that I want the toy control? Was that self-control or was that don't interrupt me control? Was that self-control or was that
Does she
yelling over
understand
everyone
that at
else?
3?
Yeah, she at 4, she used to start doing interventions because like mom would be worked up and she would come over to mom and put a hand on her, mom, breathe.
No.
And I'm going, what the? Because
Um,
she'd seen me do that with mom, and so she was
yeah.
modeling. I was like, the hell?
Well, you're raising
High
a
five,
very
kid.
aware, yeah, a very aware child.
Well, because we modeled it consciously and
Right.
we could explain without, me less. My wife is much better about, dude, she's 3 to 5 words. You're lecturing, you're monologuing, stop. And my wife would
Hmm.
pull me back in. But she's got an early childhood education, so that
Oh,
definitely helped.
that does. Yeah.
But it's like the whole idea of timeout was about, okay, you need to go get 3 minutes, pause.
Hmm.
Then one of us would come over and say, hey, was what you were doing okay or not so much? Like we didn't say it was right or wrong or good or
Yeah.
bad. Was what you were doing okay or not so much? Not so much. Because we want her to take action. We want her to
Yeah.
take risks.
Um,
But
oh, sorry.
yeah. Well, then we would bring her back into the conversation. So we gave her an explanation of, and then, what could she do differently? And she might not know. Could I offer a suggestion? So getting consent again.
Yeah.
And then could we work on this together? Awesome. Well, I love you. Can I have a hug? And now she's
Oh,
back into the family. So she had that, go to timeout. Oh, I lost the social connection. That's kind of scary. But to get self-control. Now, here's what happened. Now, welcome her back into the pack, and now she's part of the tribe again, and she had some accountability, and we'll work on this together. That's massively different than how I was raised,
yeah.
right?
I mean,
Not that my
not a lot
parents
of
were bad,
people
but
in our generation has been raised like that, and a
yeah.
lot of your story is very similar. Not like the points, but the way my parents were and their
Mhm.
parents.
Yeah,
Okay, so I have a couple more questions as we wrap up.
absolutely.
And I really
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing all this, and it's very insightful. So, what does being resilient AF mean to you?
Sometimes I don't know because I'm just too stupid to stop or quit.
That's
Um,
funny.
Last night I went and ran a half mile or a half marathon. So
Oh,
I'm training for the Dopey in January,
what's
which
a
is like
dopey?
the Dopey Challenge is a race on Disney. It's a 5K on Thursday, a 10K on Friday, a half marathon on Saturday, a full marathon on Sunday.
And where do you
And so,
live?
yeah, we live 35 minutes from Disney right
Oh
now,
my God. So in Florida or the California?
Florida.
Well, it's snowing here in Canada where I am.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, we've got family in Dayton, Ohio. It's
Yeah.
snowing there. They have a winter emergency tomorrow. It is 77 degrees Fahrenheit right now.
Oh, rub it in, rub it in. Okay, so
Oh
you're
yeah. No, we live here
basically,
for a reason. I had 40 years of Ohio winter and six
yeah.
months of gray sky. Turns out my wife is solar powered.
Oh,
She's
me
much
too. I'm
happier
solar
down here.
powered. I actually am between Australia and the Maldives. Like
Yeah,
I,
there you go.
yeah.
There you go. Yeah, go
Um,
Australia.
um, okay, so too stupid to quit.
Yeah, kind of like
It's okay. I get it. I
no,
know.
no, no. Do you want to be right or do you want to get results? Well, I want results. Okay, cool. Well, then stop starting over,
Yeah.
right? Iterate. Because are you alive? Well, yeah. Okay, cool. What was the feedback on what not to do the exact same way again?
Yeah.
So now iterate, do something different, even if it's
Yeah.
just 1 degree over. That's a lot of what I do as a consultant for my clients is okay, so what did you do? What was the feedback? What are you going to implement from that? How are you going to recover? And that the resilience really to me is the ability to grow back from negative feedback
Yeah.
without like losing your sense of humor or your joy or your playfulness. Because like I tell people all the time, life is pain at times because that's part of the deal, but suffering is optional because suffering is self-generated. Only you can make yourself suffer for the story that you're telling. And if you remember, oh, I could change my story or I could change my life conditions. Oh, I have agency in here.
I love
Even
that.
if it's a little bit of agency, right? Iron bars do not a prison make.
Suffering is optional. I think that's actually really powerful. And I guess to piggyback on that, what advice do you have for someone going through something similar in the way of they're an adult and the pieces are starting to get put together and they're starting to connect all of the dots? Like it can probably be very alarming for people who don't have the tools.
Yeah.
Like what's your advice for them?
Yeah, it's all BS. It's all belief systems, right? You're here now. You survived. Whatever the thing you went through probably never should have happened. If I could, I would kick the crap out of the people that hurt you.
Mm.
But the fact is, you're here. You now have a choice because you have a new awareness. And that's the thing is you can't change or transform or transcend something you're not aware of.
Yeah.
And that awareness, it hurts because it's like most of us carry this guilt of I'm not enough or I'm too much. And like somehow we believe we deserve the abuse that we were given, right? In my case, I went a military base. I went out past where we were living at 5 years old, and I was out past the security gates, and a security guard in Saudi Arabia abused me. Some part of me believed I was already punished for this abuse. I can't tell my parents because if I tell my parents, I'm going to get in trouble again or
Mm,
more. So I can't tell them what went on because when you
right.
when you do what you're not supposed to do, you're going to get in trouble and you're going to get punished. Well, I already had that happen. But then I continued for 20 plus years, 30 years to punish myself,
Yeah.
right? Because there's some part of me like I didn't pay enough yet. I haven't been in enough pain yet, so I got to like find more ways to screw up my life. No, that's all BS. That's a story that was never examined. And so get support, get someone to help you to unravel the story so that you can change it. Like we can sit there and pull the lymph out of our belly buttons forever and talk about the problem forever. What do you actually want as a solution? If you could wave a magic wand and have it all your way, how would you have it be? I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, we can't go in a time machine and change the past, but we can change the meaning now. We don't have to wait, right? When I work with somebody who had grief, and it's like, could you imagine 50 years from now being at peace with this? Yes. Okay. What would you have to believe? What would you have to experience? What would you have to know? Their mind has to create that 50-year in the future reality to describe it to me. That means it exists inside their brain right now. There's
Mhm.
nothing magical in those 50 years other than the permission to be in pain for how long until you give yourself permission to not be in pain.
Yeah.
And that's what I do a lot of times is we'll make a jump from those. I just bring those 50 years into this moment and you can have that forgiveness and that healing and that peace. You can have it now,
Yeah.
right?
I
And
love
so
that.
don't do this alone because the eye that sees can't see itself. It's really hard to see the back of your head. You got to have two mirrors.
Mm.
So having somebody outside your emotional situation can help you like be a life raft to like get back to solid ground again.
Yeah.
That's the biggest piece. It's
Yeah.
all BS. It's all stories.
It's all
Nothing,
belief systems.
yeah, nothing has meaning except the meaning we give it,
I love
right?
that. You're like a fortune cookie.
Thanks. Well, if
Um,
someone's yelling at you, is
yeah.
that because you did something wrong? Is it because they're angry? Is it because they're scared? Is it because they don't feel like they're being heard? Is it because they're hard of hearing? Is it because they're a boisterous person who's always loud about everything? There's six different interpretations for one behavior pattern,
Hmm.
six different stories for one game. So, which interpretation serves you and serves them and serves this relationship with clear accountability and boundaries? Excuse me, you're at a 10 to me. Can you come down?
Yeah.
Oh, oh, this is only a 4 for me. I can get way louder. I'm not asking you to get louder. Can you go to a 2 for you? Thank you. Right? Because then I'm not, stop yelling at me. I'm not yelling. Now we're going to have an argument about yelling or not yelling. What do you want? Well, I want you to talk to me quieter. Okay, then just say that. You're at a 10 for me or an 8. Could you go to a? Now you're claiming your experience, and then you've given them, they have a choice how they play the game with you or not.
Yeah, I love that. That's great advice, Jeremy.
Thank you.
All of his links are in the show notes, including a more detailed bio. So you want to know more about him, dive on in. He also has a couple free gifts in the show notes for you. Jeremy, thank you for joining us on Resilient AF today.
Thank you. And I love the whole conversation and what you're doing because resilience is a skill we can practice.
Yes, I like to say we all have a resilience muscle, and there are things
Yeah.
you can do to strengthen that resilience muscle, and that's my big thing, our big
Yeah.
thing. And so I really appreciate the support and, together we heal. So I thank you for that. And thank you to everyone who tuned in for another episode of Resilient AF. You don't have to go through life alone. You will bounce forward. We are that lighthouse in the storm for you. And just remember, friends, you are Resilient AF. That's a wrap for another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana. And thank you for listening. Are you feeling inspired to bounce forward?
Let's connect at theglobalresilienceproject.com, where you can read many stories of resilience, buy our books, shop our clothing line, learn more about how to strengthen your resilience muscle, be empowered, and more.
Remember, friends, you are Resilient AF.